This is Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
Top of the morning, Dan and Amy. Yes, I'm back. I've run out of booze, cigars, and ammo. So it was time to come back to base camp.
And I thought you were delivered in a box this morning by Amazon. We cut you out of it, and here you are.
Yeah, back just in time to witness this. The best call of last night's fateful field goal attempt from Spanish radio, of course. And by the way, not from a Simpsons episode. Are you ready for this?
I can't wait.
Pie de Cody Parkey. 43 yardas. El snap. Le mete el pie. Distancia, dirección. Le dio el poste. ¡No! ¡Falló! ¡No, señor! ¡No, señor! ¡No, señor! ¡No, señor! ¡No, señor! ¡No, señor! ¡Los Eagles se van con la victoria! ¡Ay, papá! ¡No, señor! ¡No, señor! ¡Chicago! ¡Chicago! ¡Nos vamos para New Orleans! ¡Philadelphia gana el partido! ¡Le dio el poste!
The Spanish Frank Sinatra. I think it's loosely translated, he missed the kick.
Yeah, well, no, senor, no means no way, no way, no way.
That was fantastic.
And then started singing Chicago. It was great.
Now, did you see, though, you did see the stadium if you went to Soldier Field, but the kick was tipped. It was tipped.
Yeah.
Partially blocked.
Oh.
And that changed the trajectory. Now, so you say, well, Cody Parkey shouldn't be the GOAT because the kick was tipped. However, I would say from 42 yards, you need to get that ball up faster. So I still blame Cody Parkey.
You do. Yeah. I mean, we were bounced from the playoffs by a matter of inches. It hit the upright and then the crossbar, and I really thought it was going to bounce the other way, and it bounced.
Then you haven't seen Cody Parkey hit the crossbars or the uprights earlier this year because it never bounces in.
No, well, it's the sixth time he's done it this season.
Yeah,
he's 26 years old. He's young, rookie, but he feels bad. Dan, he's
got to be an NFL record.
You think you're having a bad day today?
I feel terrible. Let the team down. That's on me. So I have to own it. I have to be a man. And
can't blame the upright.
Unfortunately, that's the way it went today.
So he realizes it.
All right, he's got to lick his wounds, just like Ed Burke. Ed Burke's clanking around, too, a little bit under indictment.
But still defiant. He's going to still run for a 13th term, Dan.
Oh, of course he is.
50 years is not enough. Don't you get it?
Certainly can't get enough of Ed Burke, especially if you like extortion. Then you want him to stick around. He's an impresario, well, up until recently. 8 months of wiretaps, 9,500 conversations.
Ooh.
Boy, I'd like to see some transcripts. Ed Burke, though, telling family and friends to hold fast.
By now, I'm certain that you've learned of yesterday's events. I want you, my friends and supporters, to know that I fully intend to seek re-election. And I am hopeful that you and my many friends will continue to do the work you've already been doing.
Yeah.
I appreciate your
shaking down
help and
people
your
for
support. And I want you to know that my family and I want you and your family to have a healthy and wonderful new year.
Oh.
You know what? That's so sweet.
Well, thanks so much, Uncle Ed.
Gosh.
Isn't he great?
Mayor Emanuel responded to him stepping down as chairman of the Finance Committee.
And I believe this reflects his affection for the city and his deep respect for the institution of the City Council.
Yeah. He loves the city so much, he's going to extort anyone who tries to open a business in his ward or anywhere else. He's a property. By the way, some of those clients of Ed Burke probably seeking new representation at this point. So that'll be to the benefit of Madigan. So the good news is that, there'll just be a move away from one of the legalized kingpins in Chicago to the other, lest you think anything would change with Ed Burke's indictment, much less his conviction. Continuing our series of candidates for mayor, our discussions with them in the context of this. Oh, plus another esteemed member of the city council.
Yeah. Oh,
Ricky Munoz.
Yeah, and we had he didn't have his wife on, but we played her audio about how he's been addictive and a womanizer. And she finally had the strength to come forward.
and have him arrested for abusing her.
Yeah.
So another
battery they went to court on the same day. It was a great day for Chicago politics.
I just don't want Ricky Munoz to get lost because, again, two Latino community leaders, Ed Burke and Ricky Munoz. They care about the people. They represent the people, you see. And, I mean, Munoz is a child compared to Burke. He's only been there for 2 decades.
25 to his 50.
Yeah. Yeah. So Munoz not running for re-election. But should he step down? Has anybody asked any of the P-hat leftists in office in this city and state? Should Ricky Munoz step down? Anybody in the Chicago press corps querying Democrats about that? Much less Ed Burke? Well, let's query a Democrat. He's LaShawn Ford. He's a state rep, and he's a candidate for mayor, West Side state legislator. LaShawn, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan and Amy. And I got to say, Amy had the best line. The Bears were bounced from the playoffs.
Yep.
No pun intended.
There you go. So why don't we start with some of your Democrat colleagues there, Ed Burke and Ricky Munoz. Should they be bounced from the city council?
You know, I got to tell you, if their allegations are true, I would say yes. There's no doubt that we should always let the justice system take place and justice prevail, and people guilty of crime should always pay the price. And so, you know, we have to have a society that's fair. You know, I've had my incident with the feds, and so I'm not so quick to just say that a person should just be thrown under the bus. But if Ed Burke is guilty of extortion, then he should go to jail.
Well,
but I also know that it's got to be a time where we get rid of the politics that closes government off and only make it work for a few of the well-connected people. And that's what all of this 50 years of being in power has done.
Well, they're all connected. I mean, Toni Preckwinkle obviously is connected. She's giving back the money that was raised at the fundraiser that he had at his home, but she's calling on him to resign. So Susana Mendoza, Gary Chico, Bill Daley, they're all trying to separate themselves from Ed Burke, but they're all, don't you believe, in on it with him since day one?
You know, I mean, it's clear that that's the circle of money, and those people stick together. And what we have is a network of people that's been holding Chicago hostage, keeping us from going forward, keeping Chicago taxpayers at bay, and constantly, because of their corruption in the city council, because of their corruption in the county, because of the corruption in the state, taxpayers pay. And we continue to go after taxpayers because we have to continue to pay for the corruption of politicians.
The Tribune, Chicago Tribune, opined over the weekend about the quote-unquote corruption tax in Chicago. And they offered what I consider rhetorical questions, but I'll ask you to answer them. The Tribune editorial board asked, is Chicago the world-class city its mayors brag about, or is it a land of despots? And if its public officials didn't levy a corruption tax, how many more businesses and jobs would call this city home? That's a particularly salient question for you, representing the West Side, which has a dearth of businesses and jobs.
Yeah, I think Chicago politics have been corrupted for such a long time, and then we have a Daley coming back to drain the system even more. There would be no way the Daley family would be wealthy as they are if it wasn't for the taxpayers. The taxpayers have made the Daley family rich, wealthy, and now they want to come back and do it to us some more. It's ridiculous. I mean, we have to take the Chicago politics and the state government back to the people and let them run the government.
So why do you want to be mayor of Chicago? That is a job that it just bewilders me that anyone would want to have that job.
You just heard why. You get rich.
Yeah. I live in Chicago, and you can look at my, and I heard that part about get rich, you can look at my V2s and where I raise money. I don't try to raise money and be connected to be owned and bought by lobbyists. Why do I want to run? I mean, I'm a taxpayer in Chicago. I have seen how government has destroyed the fabric of Chicago's communities, and I don't plan to leave Chicago. I plan to be a taxpayer in Chicago and stand up and make it better. I know out of all of the candidates in the race for mayor, none of them have the goals of making sure that the people downtown, the people in Lincoln Park, the people in Streeterville no longer have to suffer from high property taxes because we're neglecting the west and south sides of Chicago. The people in Chicago suffer because of the neglect of black people in this city, and we have to make sure that everybody has a fair shot as it relates to education. We can't continue to do business as usual.
Well, wait a second. You've got all these other esteemed black candidates and office holders, Tony Preckwinkle, not office holders, Lori Lightfoot, Willie Wilson, and then an office holder in Dorothy Brown of sorts. What about all of those representatives of the black community? If we're going to play this, which I hate to play, this race identity politics that, you know, you have to be black to represent black people, you have to be Latino to represent Latin people. Right.
You don't look, you know, and white people have said that they would vote for a black person because they did it for president. They do it all over the country.
Of course.
They've done it for years. So I'm not concerned about that. I just know that we can't have Daley as the mayor because he's been a part of the destruction of Chicago. We can't have Paul Vallis as mayor. He's been a part of the destruction of Chicago school systems. We can't have Tony Preckwinkle as mayor. She's entrenched and been a part of the destruction of communities. We can't have Susan Mendoza. She's been a part of the destruction of the community. And I'm just saying that if we're going to turn the page in Chicago, we have to make sure that we have someone that understands the heart and soul of the communities and that's willing to stand up and fight the powers to bring the government back to the common people so that we could stop raising taxes. We have to destroy the process that we're all under now.
Right. Well, we need to have some revenue coming in, and a lot of your opponents were suggesting a commuter tax. But if you look at what cities have a commuter tax, Detroit and Philadelphia. And I don't think that that's working for them. How do you feel about a commuter tax?
Oh, I'm totally against a commuter tax. And, you know, what makes no sense to me is that we continue to talk about just taxing people without even talking about fixing the structural problems that we have in the city. So we're going to say, let's just bring more revenue in so the government could continue to waste it, and we haven't fixed the problems that we have before we even take more taxpayer dollars. So we can talk about more taxes, but we're not going to talk about why we have to raise taxes and why we have this structural deficit in the city of Chicago. It's unfair to taxpayers that we continue to talk about give me more of your hard-earned money without talking about fixing the problem.
Yeah, or certainly no discussion about reducing the spend. It's just dope, gambling, and big government. Those are the three prongs of the political class in Chicago, right?
Right, and that's unfortunate. And just because we bring in, as we have seen, just because we raise taxes, the bag tax, the sugar tax, the you name all the taxes that the city continues to raise on the working families, driving people deeper into poverty, driving people into homelessness, it's never enough because we're not fixing the problem. And so if we don't talk about fixing the problems and making sure that we shut off all the cronyism in the city of Chicago, you know, black people are not the only people that shut out of this government. There are struggling white people.
Oh, he was about to say who else was shut out of the government, and he got shut down. Oh, there we go. LaShawn, sorry, you were cutting out.
Yeah, I mean, black people are not the only people struggling in this city that's paying,
true.
That's paying taxes. White people in Streeterville, they struggle too. people in Lincoln Park struggle. It may look like people are doing well, but everyone is suffering under this attack on taxpayers.
That's true, and then one of the reasons I like LaShawn is that he's not going to play the racial identity politics stuff. LaShawn, where can people get more information about your candidacy?
FordForChicago.com, and my commitment, Dan and Amy, is to make sure government back to people, and we have to cut the cronyism in Chicago, and my campaign will give a chance to reset and destroy the old guards in Chicago. He is
LaShawn Ford, state representative from the West Side, currently running for mayor of the city of Chicago. LaShawn, thanks for joining us. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan.
Take care. Also, if you want an extended discussion on the issues, but LaShawn sat down 6-8 weeks ago with me for an Against the Current long-form interview. We covered a lot of topics, so you can get that at upstream-ideas.com.
And he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
If you're talking about it, Dan and Amy are talking about it. It's Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560. The Answer.